Welcome to the Sharpe Show. It is 7 p.m. on the East Coast, and I have been gone for a few days, but I'm back today. I have been brought back in by States of the Union, or is it State of the Union addresses? I'm not sure, or responses. A bunch of people deciding, I don't know what they're deciding, but they decided to talk a lot yesterday and say a whole bunch of stuff. And I watched it, all of them. I punished myself. So I thought, I'm upset because I punished myself. So what's the best thing I could do to make myself feel better? I know. I'll show them to you and punish you too. See, we can then share in the misery and we can all be punished together. Yes, I want to go through it because there are parts of it that really matter. And you should be looking at this in a very specific way. Many times when I go through speeches that politicians give, I very often explain what they actually mean or what's actually happening behind that, right? I kind of do that. You guys kind of get what I'm talking about when I do this. And I do this consistently because I hope one day that I'll be giving these same types of speeches and you all can call me out on my BS when that comes. Hopefully there'll be no BS. But if there is some, you can call me out too. Because the reality of this is if we're not able to decipher what they actually mean or understand repercussions of what they say, if it sounds good, we clap our hands and say yay and vote for it. And sadly, too many Americans do exactly that. Sounds good, clap my hands, vote for it, and don't realize how it's crushing everybody. As always, guys, please like, comment, and share. I bring them up every time because it matters. Please do that. It does matter. If you're someone who's more new to libertarianism, no worries. Head over to libertarianism.com. Literally, click that link right there. There's classes that you could take, little cool videos you can watch, and merch you can pick up. Either if you want it for free, you can take the classes. You get the points for free, get the merch for free. Or if you like it too much, awesome. Buy it yourself if you think it's appropriate. Do what you want. Either way, it's free. Unless you want to buy the merch, please go ahead and do so if you like. And of course, please like, comment, and share. It does matter tremendously. It really does. It's how I get past all of these things. All right. Let me, if I could grab a little bit so you understand what we're up against here and what some of this stuff means. I will not stop all the time because we'll be here for 7 hours. And while I could probably speak for 7 hours, I'm not going to punish you that badly. I mean, I probably should, but I will not do that. Absolutely. All right. Let me, here we go.
History. We've learned this lesson. When dictators do not pay a price for their aggression, they cause more chaos. They keep moving.
See that?
The cost, the threats to America and America to the world keeps rising.
This is about my seat constantly.
That's why the NATO alliance was created to secure peace and stability in Europe after World War II.
Okay.
The United States is a member, along with 29 other nations. It matters. American diplomacy matters.
Okay, NATO does not matter. That's silly to even say that. And every time people say that, you should realize something as an American, NATO does not matter at all. It is irrelevant to us whatsoever. NATO was not built to keep stability. NATO was built to fight a rising Soviet power. That's what NATO was built for. Anything else is just a blatant lie or rewriting of history. Once the Soviet Union fell, we should have gotten out of NATO. Now all NATO has done is move closer and closer to Russia, which makes Russia eventually realize it's going to be taken over. So, yeah, utter garbage. People say it, people clap. Totally wrong.
American resolve matters. Putin's latest attack on Ukraine was premeditated and totally unprovoked.
So were the last
three. He rejected repeated efforts at diplomacy.
Yep.
He thought the West and NATO wouldn't respond.
Didn't last time.
He thought he could divide us at home in this chamber, in this nation.
Okay, he did divide us at home. That worked. Every time someone outside attacks us, we fall into partisan problems, and we do absolutely do that, right? Absolutely do that. Just split us right up. Split us right up.
He thought he could divide us in Europe as well.
That's already happening
too. Putin was wrong. We are ready. We are united, and that's what we did. We stayed united.
Okay.
We prepared extensively and carefully. We spent months building coalitions of other freedom-loving nations in Europe and the Americas, from America to the Asian and African continents.
Well, then, good. So we're all good. We got it all popped up, and we're ready to go.
to confront Putin.
Okay, then we stopped.
Like many of you, I spent countless hours unifying your European allies.
I didn't spend countless hours unifying European allies. Sam, did you? Did we do that? Like many of us? I don't remember doing that. I mean, maybe I did. I don't remember that.
We shared with the world in advance.
Look at them in the back. They're like, what's this guy saying? What are we doing?
What we knew Putin was planning and precisely how we would try to falsify and justify his aggression. We countered Russia's lies with the truth.
Okay, that didn't work.
Now that he's acted, the free world is holding him accountable.
Oh, okay, that's
along
good.
with 27 members of the European Union, including France, Germany, Italy, as well as countries like the United Kingdom, Canada, Japan, Korea, Australia, New Zealand, and many others, even Switzerland,
are holding them accountable.
Are inflicting pain on Russia and supporting the people of Ukraine.
Okay.
Putin is now isolated from the world more than he has ever been.
All right.
Together.
That's good, right? Yeah. And now we won, I think. That sounds good. Let's clap on that one. Oh, we're going to stand on this too. Okay, let's stand for that one. Yeah. He's isolated. I'm sure the Ukrainians right now are feeling great as they're being bombed. Absolutely.
Together, along with our allies, we are right now enforcing powerful economic sanctions.
Oh, I like that.
We're cutting off Russia's largest banks in the international financial system.
Look, all I can say is all of these harsh things, I'm glad we're doing it because they always work. I mean, I can think of all the times that these harsh sanctions have worked. I mean, think about how we have harsh sanctions against North Korea, and that has, not worked at all. Well, then against Iran, and hasn't worked at all. Well, Cuba, no, not Cuba either. Yeah. This time, though, because Switzerland. This time.
Preventing Russia's central bank from defending the Russian ruble, making Putin's $630 billion war fund worthless. We're choking Russia's access. We're choking Russia's access to technology that will sap its economic strength and weaken its military for years to come.
So think about this. Think about this. If he's right, and we push Russia into this point to where they're desperate, we're deciding that the right answer is to make a nuclear power run by a despot desperate. That's the right answer. I'm not sure that's the right answer, but I hope he's right. I hope I'm wrong.
Tonight, I say to the Russian oligarchs and the corrupt leaders who built billions of dollars off this violent regime, no more. The United States.
See that? No more.
I mean it.
See, you got to do it for like 20 years, but that's the max. He said he means it. He's not joking.
The United States.
What are we going to do?
The Justice is assembling a dedicated task force to go after the crimes of the Russian oligarchs.
We got a task force now. Okay. See, you got a task force against the Russian oligarchs. That's the game right there.
We're joining with European allies to find and seize their yachts, their luxury apartments, their private jets.
So now we're going to decide, even though we're not at war with them, hear what he just said. We're not at war with Russia. There's been no declaration of war. So what we're going to do is they are going to go seize people's assets. The government's going to seize people's assets as if that's a good idea. And we're clapping. We're going to steal people's stuff. Yeah. And we're going to steal people's stuff, and that'll teach them. There's an issue that you may not know. A lot of these Russian oligarchs do a lot of business with American bankers. You think those American bankers are going to be like, well, I guess all those billions go away. No, they're going to hide it and do back deals. Larry, how do you know that? I'll tell you how I know that. Because UBS was caught, literally caught, laundering drug cartel money twice. Not once. They got caught once. It was so much money behind it, they paid the fine and did it again. Then got caught again and said, here's the fine, and they're still doing it. And you're telling me the literally billions of dollars in Russia, everyone's going to be like, well, we'll just tell them no. We'll just seize their jets and stuff. First off, why are we seizing jets of oligarchs? Not that they don't deserve it, but if they deserve it now, they deserved it 10 years ago, 20 years ago. If they deserved it, I'm not sure they do, but if they deserve it, they've always deserved it. So now that one leader, political leader, has invaded, They should. So when we invaded Iraq, when we invaded Afghanistan, should other countries have seized property of Americans? Would that have been an appropriate thing? Well, Americans invaded Iraq, so anything in our country's American, we're just taking. We're just stealing it. Is that okay? Now, I get if we're at war with the country. I do. If we're at war with the nation, you do what you're going to do at war. That's different. We're not at war. This is just Russia did stuff we don't like. With an ally who isn't even in NATO.
We're coming for you, ill-begotten gains. And tonight, I'm announcing that we will join our allies in closing off American airspace to all Russian flights.
That'll work. So now everybody trying to escape Russia can't get out. That'll work. That's the issue. Now no one will get out. That'll teach the Russians.
He has no idea what's coming.
No, he was clueless. He had no idea. You got him.
Lost 30% of its value.
He didn't see any of that
coming. The Russian stock market has lost 40% of its value, and trading remains suspended. The Russian economy is reeling, and Putin alone is the one to blame.
So let's get the oligarchs.
Together with our allies,
sorry,
we're providing support to the Ukrainians in their fight for freedom.
Okay.
Military assistance, economic assistance, humanitarian assistance.
Okay.
We're giving more than $1 billion of direct assistance to Ukraine, and we'll continue to aid the Ukrainian people as they defend their country and help ease their suffering.
Oh, okay. I guess that's good. Like that's because she's like, yeah, I would like some more. That's nice, but how about some tanks? That's what she's thinking. Could we have some tanks instead?
Our forces are
Could you send an 82nd Airborne?
Engaged and will not engage in the conflict with Russian forces in Ukraine.
He literally said this. We will not engage with the force of Ukraine. We're tough, but we ain't fighting. We're tough, but we're not going to fight. Okay.
Our forces are not going to Europe to fight Ukraine, but to defend our NATO allies in the event that Putin decides to keep moving west.
So, to be clear, we're going to send more troops to bolster up in case he attacks Poland, in case he attacks Estonia. Is that the issue? That's what you're worried about. So you're going to put troops, waste time, money, energy, and dollars, sending troops into some other foreign country in case Russia attacks. If Russia actually attacks Poland, that is a NATO country, and all NATO will attack. He knows that. So does everybody else. So are the Poles just going to accept this? You already got the Germans spending money. I don't know when it was ever anyone in the world ever said, oh, the Germans are spending money on war. Good. This is the first time anyone's ever said, boy, so happy about Germans spending money on their war machine. But you've gotten that to happen. So I would walk away at that point. You're good.
For that purpose, we have mobilized American ground forces,
We've wasted time, money, and energy.
Ship deployments to protect NATO countries, including Poland, Romania, Latvia, Lithuania.
He's not going to attack them without attacking NATO.
Clear, the United States and our allies will defend every inch of territory that is NATO territory with the full force of our collective power.
Bad on every level to even say that. You literally have the Ukrainian ambassador right there. We will defend everybody except Ukraine. I mean, every inch of everyone who's on the border of Ukraine. But no, not Ukraine. But every other one next to Ukraine, around Ukraine, near Ukraine. We will die for you. Ukraine, we'll send you, we'll write you a check. We'll write you a check. How about that? That's not bad. We'll print some more money and we'll write you a check. We'll do that. Is that okay, Ukraine? We'll do that. She's here. The ambassador is literally here. Yeah. And did anybody think, is there anyone who thought on the planet that if the Russians invaded Poland, that he wouldn't go to war with NATO? Does anyone not know that? Do I have to send an 82nd Airborne to Poland for him to believe that? This is yelling, get off my lawn, when no one's on your lawn. He's yelling, get off my lawn, when no one's on his lawn. He's talking to the TV. If these kids ever come on my lawn, I'm going to yell at them to get off.
Every single inch.
Useless. And they're clapping. And they're all standing and clapping. Yeah. Yeah. We are so happy about what he just said.
Ukrainians are fighting back with pure courage.
Yeah, but they'd rather have tanks. I mean, I like the courage part, I think they would like tanks too, is all I'm saying.
The next few days, weeks, and months
Yeah.
will be hard on them.
Yeah.
Putin has unleashed violence and chaos. But
True.
while he may make gains on the battlefield,
Yeah.
he'll pay a continuing high price over the long run. And a pound of Ukrainian people, proud people, pound for pound, ready to fight
not a
with
pound
every
of
inch
Ukrainian
of earnings.
I mean, a pound of Ukrainian people is not much.
Yeah.
That's hardly a
They've
person.
known 30 years of independence, have repeatedly shown that they will
Yeah.
not tolerate anyone who tries to take their country backwards. To all Americans,
They kind
I'll
of
be
did more
honest
than
with
once.
you, as I always
That's
promised
fine.
I would be.
Germans
A
did.
Russian dictator
Russians
invading a foreign country has cost around the world. And I'm
Okay. They invaded Crimea. They invaded Afghanistan. Didn't they invade Mongolia once? Years ago, they invaded Czechoslovakia when it was Czechoslovakia. This is a new thing. I mean, this really is a new thing. Didn't he? He just invaded Georgia, or 10 years ago, he invaded Georgia. You're really like making this stuff up now. And everyone's like, yeah.
Action to make sure the pain of our sanctions is targeted at Russian economy, and that we use every tool at our disposal to protect American businesses and consumers. Tonight, I can announce the United States has worked with 30 other countries to release 60 million barrels of oil from reserves around the world. America.
I guess that's
will
good.
lead that effort, releasing 30 million barrels of our own strategic petroleum reserve.
So,
and we stand ready to do more if necessary. 4 days? United with our allies.
Okay, that's nice. That is a nice. I'm glad you're releasing some reserves, I guess, but those reserves are supposed to be for like war, which you've just told us you're ramping up for. So we're ramping up for war, and so we're spending all on non-war stuff. The reserves that are meant for war, we're letting that out, but don't you come at us. I guess that's what he's saying. And he's like, yeah, that's like 4 days of oil that we got out now. See? Us and 30 countries sharing 90 million barrels of oil. That's like 3 days, maybe, I'm guessing, in that area. Oh my God. But wow, nothing, just bad. Making no sense as usual. I have an idea. How about make it easier for us to get gas and to get our own energy? That would be nice. I like that.
These steps will help blunt gas prices here at home.
No, they won't.
But I know news about what's happening can seem alarming to all Americans.
This is awesome, right? So he's going to blame all the high gas prices on Russia and Ukraine. It's a good deal, right? So it's clearly his fault, but he's going to be like, no. See, it's not my fault, America. It's Putin. See, it costs you $6 a gallon for gas because Russia bad.
But I want you to know, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay.
I feel good you said
when
twice.
The history of this era is written, Putin's war in Ukraine will have left Russia weaker and the rest of the world stronger.
Wow.
Well,
I don't think Afghanistan believes that because they're getting weaker. I think Yemen would disagree too. Democratic Republic of Congo would disagree. Libya, disagree. Syria, disagree.
Well, it shouldn't have taken something so terrible for people around the world to see what's at stake. Now everyone sees it clearly.
Oh, we do.
We see the unity among leaders of nations. A more unified Europe, a more unified West. We see unity among the people who are gathering in cities.
I think the Uyghurs wish they got invaded by Russia right now, not China.
To demonstrate their support for the people of Ukraine.
See, if I was Uyghurs right now, I'd be begging the Russians to invade. Russia invade me. That maybe the world would save us and not ignore us, I guess.
In the battle between democracy and autocracies. Democracies are rising to the moment. And the world is clearly choosing the side of peace and security. This is the real test.
Tell me.
It's going to take time.
Yeah.
So let us continue to draw inspiration from the iron will of the Ukrainian people.
Let's watch them die.
Ukrainian Americans who forged a deep bond that connects our two nations. We stand with you. We stand with you. Putin may circle Kyiv with tanks, but he'll never gain the hearts and souls of the Iranian people.
The Iranian people?
He'll never extinguish their...
Is he trying to get the Iranian people? Oh, he meant Ukrainian people. He just messed up and said Iranian people. That's fine. I mean, he won't get the Iranian people either. He's not wrong. I don't think Putin will win the hearts of the Iranian people either. So he's not wrong. I just don't think we probably should have said those words. But, Iranian, Ukrainian. You know, it's still got an Anian at the end.
Love of freedom, and he will never, never weaken the resolve of the free world.
I'm not sure that's true either. That's okay. I like it. Let's clap for that. Biden said we'll be okay. So guys, chill out. We're gonna be okay. In fact, Biden said it twice. That makes it even better.
Tonight in an America that has lived through two of the hardest years this nation has ever faced.
That's true. And who put us there? You're right. Absolutely. Right? We have been through two of the hardest years in yeah. And who put us there? Kind of you and your ilk. Yeah.
The pandemic has been punishing, and so many families are living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to keep up with the rising cost of food, gas, housing, and
inflation.
So much more.
Yeah, gas to inflation. Yeah. And whose fault is that? Oh, I forgot. That's Putin's fault. See, Putin invaded now, but we were so afraid of the invasion that we made inflation 2 years ago. That came up to now because we were so afraid of Putin invading. That's the story. I got it.
I understand, like many of you did.
Tell me.
My dad had to leave his home in Scranton, Pennsylvania to find work.
I didn't have to leave my home in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Like I did. I never lived in Scranton. Okay. I don't know. David, you have to leave your home in Scranton? He likes saying, like many of you. I don't remember living in Scranton, leaving my home, but I don't know.
So like many of you, I grew up in a family. When the price of food went up, it was felt throughout the family. It had an impact.
Usually when the price of food goes up, it is felt throughout the family because the whole family eats food. That's a thing. You're right. True. And price of food's always gone up. So I don't think like many of us, I would say, just in this specific case, like all of us, we have all grown up in families that ate food, and the food price went up and it affected the entire family. Somebody wrote this. I mean, that's the funny part. Somebody wrote this, and then he's, I guess, riffing. I don't know. This is bad.
Impact. That's one of the first things I did as president was fight to pass the American Rescue Plan.
Oh.
Because people were hurting.
Yep.
We needed to act, and we did.
We had the right checks.
Few pieces of legislation have done more at a critical moment in our history.
Done more,
to lift
more
us
checks.
Out of a crisis. It fueled our efforts to vaccinate the nation and combat COVID-19.
Yep.
Delivered immediate economic relief to tens of millions of Americans.
You wrote lots of checks. That's
true. Helped put food on the table. Remember those long lines of cars waiting for hours just to get a box of food put in their trunk?
I remember that.
It cut the.
But that wasn't government. See, that was community. Community was actually giving food. Community was trying to support. You then stopped it by ensuring people couldn't work, by making it harder for them to take volunteers, and by just writing checks. So
cost of healthcare insurance.
Yeah, which has been bad forever.
My dad used to say, it gave the people just a little bit of breathing room. Unlike the $2 trillion tax cut passed in the previous administration that benefited the top 1% of Americans, the American Rescue Plan.
That's Trump's problem. Oh, he's like, can I clap? It's bad, Trump. We got to clap, don't we?
Help working people and left no one behind.
But there we go. Schumer couldn't stop himself. He's like, oh, you said bad Trump. Oh, we don't clap now? Yeah, when you say Trump is bad, you got, and you're a Democrat. I'm sorry, if you're a Democrat and you say Trump is bad, you got to get up and clap. That's like, they're like trained, like Pavlov's dogs. Oh, Trump bad. Oh, clap. Okay, so he tried, but he couldn't control himself. Luckily, he didn't actually clap yet. So he got back up later after they said helped everybody. He was like, Trump bad. Oh, yeah, clap. Because Trump bad. Yeah, Trump's terrible. Well, yeah. We have no plans. I'm sorry, we have bad plans, but at least it's not Trump plans, so. See? Said Trump is bad. Standing O. Standing O.
It worked. We created jobs, lots of jobs. In fact, our economy created over 6.5 million new jobs just last year.
Look, I know we created a lot of jobs. I get it. But you got to remember, we lost the gazillion jobs because of your dumb lockdowns and mandates. So it's like, look, we put up a wall in your house. Yeah, but you knocked my house down. So I'm glad you put a wall up. I am. That's a good thing. But you knocked my entire house down. The fact that you happen to put up one wall pretty quickly, and it's a good wall, that's nice. I appreciate it. But you probably shouldn't have knocked my house down in the first place. So I'm not really sure if we should be clapping at this one.
More jobs in 1 year than ever before in the history of the United States of America.
And the year before, you destroyed more jobs in the history of America.
The strongest growth rate in 40 years. And the first step in bringing fundamental change to our economy that hasn't worked for working people in this nation for too long.
Fundamental change, but note, what has his actual policy been? He's been talking for 15 minutes, and all he said is, we love Ukraine. We're just going to write him a check, and we'll defend everybody except Ukraine. That's part one. Then part two, man, can we write checks? When something goes wrong, we will write us some checks like there's no tomorrow. We won't change anything or build anything, but man, can we write us some checks?
For the past 40 years, we were told the tax break for those at the top and benefits would trickle down and everyone would benefit.
We haven't been told that in 50 years. Sorry, wrong. 40 years. So then again, he was just, so yeah, he was when he got in, he was, but we don't discuss that. We don't know.
Trickle down theory led to a weaker economic growth, lower wages, bigger deficits, and a widening gap between the top and everyone else.
Okay, all of that happened because of our crashes and our bank bailouts. That's what the wealth gap has happened more than anything, right? That's the big one. The big one is bank bailouts to where the banks make all the cash and buy up all the assets from everyone else who sold their assets. That's the biggest reason why we have a wealth gap.
And nearly a century. Look, Vice President Harris and I ran for office, and I realize we have fundamental disagreements on this, but ran for office with a new economic vision for America. Invest in America. Educate Americans.
Don't forget, whenever they say invest, he's using Republican words now with this one, right? Usually Democrats say fund. Usually Republicans say invest. He's looking to their side. He goes, see, different sides. See, so I'm going to use your word. I'm going to say we're going to invest in America. What invest in America always means is more taxes, more spending, and or more debt. So invest in America means more debt.
Grow the workforce. Build the economy from the bottom up and the middle out, not from the top down. Because we know.
That's what we're going to do. From the bottom up. Yes. The bottom up. We're going to write so many checks.
Because we know when the middle class grows, the poor will way up and the wealthy do very well.
The poor will way up, I guess, but yes. However, nothing you're doing is helping the middle class. Everything you're doing is the opposite.
America used to have the best roads, bridges, and airports on earth.
That's true.
And now?
That's true because and the reason is because we had bombed most of the world during World War II. So it was kind of easy when we had the best roads compared to everything being bombed out. And then we were a monopoly in the world, so we were able to get lots of money and build everything out based upon what the German model was. It's true.
Our infrastructure is ranked 13th in the world.
It is embarrassing. You're right.
We won't be able to compete for the jobs of the 21st century if we don't fix it. That's why it was so important.
Yeah.
To pass.
And so you show Pete Buttigieg, which they're trying to groom for something. I like that.
Bipartisan
Trying
infrastructure law. And I thank my Republican
that infrastructure law.
To join.
That's going to save it because we've never spent money on infrastructure before.
The now we will. Investment in history.
The biggest investment in history. It's the biggest check we've ever written.
I want to thank the members of both parties who worked to make it happen.
Well, that's true. Republicans and Democrats both love spending. That's true. So he's right on that. Hey, we want to spend a lot of money on stuff. On board. Let's do it.
We're done talking about infrastructure weeks. We're now talking about an infrastructure decade.
Ooh. We're going to have a whole 10 years of building bridges, I guess. But probably not. It'll take us 10 years to build one bridge, and it'll cost us 6 times what it would cost in the private sector.
To put us in a path to win the economic competition of the 21st century.
I like that.
We face with the rest of the world, particularly China.
Yes, China's true.
I told Xi Jinping.
What'd you tell him?
It's never been a good bet to bet against the American people.
That's true.
We'll create good jobs for millions of Americans, modernizing roads, airports, ports, waterways.
Now, at least he was honest here. He said, we'll create millions of jobs for Americans building airports, ports, waterways. That's true. What you hear me say all the time, government is two things. It is a monopoly and a jobs program. So all those checks they're writing, he's just creating jobs. Already in America, we have what? 1 in 7 Americans works for the government. Now we're going to have what? 1 in 6, 1 in 5. This is by default going to become a socialist country because no one's going to have a private sector job anymore. They're all going to be working for the government
across America, and we'll do it to withstand the devastating effects of climate change and promote environmental justice. That too. We'll build.
So we're going to promote environmental justice. I don't know how you do that. I have a plan for that already with EVUs, but I don't know what he's doing. I think that's just, I don't know, paying consultants to do environmental justice training, maybe. I don't know what he's going to do.
A national network of 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations.
Okay, so the government's going to build 500,000 electronic charging stations. Why is the government going to build that? Why is the government going to build that? Not that I don't want 500,000 charging stations. I think that's amazing. I hope we can get that done. Why does the government have to build that? Why is that taxpayer money? Are you telling me there's not one other company that would like to build those? Ford doesn't want to build it. Tesla doesn't want to build it. I don't know. Oil companies who will be losing some gas won't want to build those? Government has to do it. Another government handout.
Began to replace the poisonous lead pipes so every child, every American has clean water to drink at home.
We've been talking about lead pipes for 50 years, but now we're going to do that.
Provide affordable, high-speed internet for every American.
Look, we're going to provide affordable, high-speed
suburban,
internet.
urban, and tribal communities.
Do you know how we did it in New York? In New York, we tried to do that. And the first thing we did that was stupid is we created monopolies. We thought, we'll create monopolies so people will come in. That didn't work. And then we said, you know what we'll do? We'll try to force pricing. You have to do $25 a month. Remember that? So we did in New York State. That didn't work either. This is impossible. You have to create a world to where these companies want to compete and lower prices. He won't do that.
4,000 projects have already been announced. Many of you have announced them in your districts.
Look at that.
And tonight, I'm announcing that this year, we will start fixing over 60.
Now, why would you announce these projects in your district? Why? Because it's all federal money coming into your district so that your donors and that your cronies now get government contracts. I'm not making that up. That's literally what's happening. He's bribing his own people to support him so that they will then promote their contractors and their donors so that they will get those contracts, government dollars going to their pockets. He's just magically creating more jobs with magic money and bribing to do it.
5,000 miles of highway and 1,500 bridges in disrepair.
The fact that we have 1,500 bridges in disrepair is embarrassing. I have a way of fixing our bridges without having to spend taxpayer dollars. Yeah, but don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. My problem with my style is my style doesn't reward cronies. That's why mine's bad. Mine isn't necessarily a jobs program. It actually just lets companies bid for it, and then they pay us. See, in my plan, people pay us because they're using our infrastructure. So they create jobs with their own money. Weird, right?
When we use taxpayers' dollars to rebuild America, we're going to do it by buying America.
Well, look, I see. Mask off. This is honest. When we use taxpayer dollars, he didn't say government money. He said taxpayer dollars because it's not. It's when we steal our money from you and give it to people that we think are better than you or smarter than you or whatever, or our cronies, so that we can keep our donor base happy. When we do that, we're going to only buy American. So you know what, Christine? Feel better about me stealing from you because at least I'm buying American. Okay, Sam, get over it. I know I'm stealing from you, but it's going American, so you have nothing to say about it.
Buy American products.
There we go. That's all.
Support American jobs.
Yep.
The federal government spends about $600 billion a year to keep this country safe and secure.
Yeah.
There's been a law on the books for almost a century.
Okay.
To make sure taxpayers' dollars support American jobs and businesses. Every administration, Democrat or Republican, says they'll do it.
Yeah.
But we're actually doing it.
Oh.
We'll buy America to make sure everything from the deck of an aircraft carrier to the steel on highway guardrails is made in America from beginning to end. All of it. All of it.
He said twice, all of it. Now, of course, we'll make sure it's all bought in America. I'm not necessarily against that. I'm not necessarily against that. That's fine. But the only issue is you could make things easier in general, like end the Jones Act, which is one of those issues that makes it bad. So the odds are, if you do that, things are just going to be terrible, because now you're going to have companies that have relationships with something overseas, screws, resources, whatever. They're not going to be able to make the thing you want made, because technology is technology. Not everything can be produced in America. So you're going to have to make exceptions left and right. And they're going to change it from made in America to, listen to me, assembled in America. That is what they will say. Guaranteed, it will change from made in America to assembled in America. And to make that happen, they will literally buy things overseas, disassemble them overseas, send them to America in parts, and then reassemble them here in America and say, made in America. I'm not joking. That actually happens. So the thing is someplace else. They disassemble it, ship it over here in pieces. Then some American people put it together and they go made in America. That's how you make things made in America, because some things can't be made here. We don't have the skill set, or in some cases the resources to make it done. That's what we do. See? Easy day. Now I feel so much better that we're so inefficient and our taxpayer dollars being thrown in the garbage. Awesome. At least it's assembled in America, and it's a jobs program, and that's all that matters.
But folks,
tell me. What you gonna tell me?
To compete for the jobs
of
the future, we also need a level playing field.
A living, you mean level?
And other competitors.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's so important to pass the Bipartisan Innovation Act sitting in Congress that will make record investments in emerging technologies and American manufacturing.
Oh, Innovation Act, not immigration. Innovation Act. This you got to pass this bill, because then we'll spend more money on stuff, because that's all we do is write checks.
We used to invest almost 2% of our GDP in research and development.
2%?
We don't now.
Oh no.
China is.
Let
me give you one example why it's so important to pass.
Okay, tell me why.
If you travel 20 miles east of Columbus, Ohio, you'll find 1,000 empty acres of land.
Oh, that sounds bad.
It won't look like much.
Nope.
But if you stop and look closely,
okay, I'll do that.
You'll see a field of dreams.
Field of dreams, baseball field.
The ground in which America's future will be built.
Oh, I like that.
That's where Intel, the American company that helped build Silicon Valley,
is
going to build a $20 billion semiconductor mega site.
There we go.
8 state-of-the-art factories in one.
Look at that. And I want to ask you, why did Intel decide to build that there? And what has that got to do with Joe Biden? Right? You would think that if Intel wants to build some conductor site, and I hope they do, that they're going to build it in America, in Ohio, in this field of dreams. Why is Joe Biden even bringing this up? It's a $20 billion thing or whatever it is. So why? Well, first off, the governor of Ohio, is it DeWine? Something like that? Whatever that guy's name is. He bribed them with $2 billion in tax breaks. That's first thing. So he bribed Intel. Now, I'm going to guess now that he's about to tell us that, well, we're going to bribe him too. And we're going to thank him for being bribed.
Place. 10,000 new jobs.
Okay, let me guarantee you something. I'll bet anybody who wants $10, guaranteed, it will not be $10,000, 10,000 jobs, and it will not be $20 billion. They never hit their numbers, ever. Every single time they say this, they never hit their numbers. And when I say never, I mean actually never.
In those factories, the average job about $135,000 a year.
Yep.
Some of the most sophisticated manufacturing in the world to make computer chips the size of a fingertip.
Now, the issue is, I know, Christine, you're saying, I'm okay with tax breaks. Yeah, but here's how it actually works. Cutting taxes without cutting spending and having to rebuild infrastructure to move people to 1,000-acre, whatever square mile, whatever that was, area where there's nothing now is going to cost taxpayers a whole bunch of money. So they're going to get a tax break, and the local people are going to be shafted to spend even more money for people to go there. So the local people will pay more taxes. They'll pay none. How do I know that? That's what de Blasio said in New York openly. Remember, de Blasio was an open communist. He's a true believer. He didn't lie. He said exactly what he felt. When de Blasio, my horrible mayor from before, was talking about Amazon coming to New York, people asked him, how are you going to fix the infrastructure for some massive, company like Amazon coming here? And he literally said, you can check it if you care. It was a press conference he did about Amazon. And he said, oh, the local businesses will have higher taxes to pay for it. He said it. Yeah. So to your point, Christine, I'm not against tax breaks as in theory. I'm against them when someone else just pays the bill.
The power of the world in everyday lives, from smartphones, technology, the internet, technology is yet to be invented.
Yeah.
But that's just the beginning.
Okay.
Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger, who was here tonight. I don't know where Pat is. Pat, there you go, Pat.
Oh, there we go. He gets to show up. Yeah. Thanks for the bribes.
Pat.
Thanks for the bribes. Thanks for the bribes. Appreciate it. All good.
Pat came to see me, and he told me they're ready to increase their investment from...
Oh, he just came to see you. Oh, you could do that? He just came to see me. Oh, well, I'm going to come down tomorrow and say hi, too. How about that? See if I can get my cut.
20 billion to 100 billion.
Look at that.
That would be the biggest investment in manufacturing in
Why
American history.
Why are you speaking about this?
And all they're waiting for is for you to pass this bill.
Oh, we got to pass the bill. There it is. Okay, see? He's going to do it, but he's waiting for you to pass the bill. The innovation bill, which is going to give him a bunch of money. So, yeah, you know what? If you bribe me with $20 billion, I'll spend $20 billion too. I tell you what. I tell you what, Joey. I care about you. You want me to give you $100,000 worth of stuff? Just bribe me with $100,000, and I'll give you $100,000 worth of stuff. Easy day. Easy day.
So let's not wait any longer.
Let's not.
Send it to my desk. I'll sign it.
Give him the money.
It will really take off in a big way.
Yeah. We will just give this money away.
And folks,
just give me the money.
Intel is not alone.
Oh, I bribed all kinds of people.
Something happening in America.
Yeah.
Just look around and you'll see an amazing story.
I do. I see a story of violence, pain, fear, bribery. It's pretty amazing. I agree.
The rebirth of pride that comes from stamping products made in America. The revital.
Stamping products made in America. Correct. Meaning assembled in America. Made someplace else.
Revitalization of American manufacturing. Companies are choosing to build new factories here.
Because you're bribing them.
When just a few years ago, they would have gone overseas. That's what.
Yes. Look, I'm not against this. I think the idea of people making stuff here is awesome. I agree completely. So why don't we, instead of having to bribe big businesses, crushing small businesses who can't afford to give all this money, how about instead we make an actual level playing field and make it easier for businesses to grow in general? This means we'll get big businesses in. Awesome. Medium businesses can grow. Awesome. Small businesses can thrive. Also awesome. I would like all three levels of businesses to survive and thrive, not just bribe the big ones.
What's happening? Ford is investing $11 billion in electric vehicles, creating 11,000 jobs across the country.
All right, this one I'm not so upset about as much. I mean, I am, but I'm not. At least this bribe is a better bribe. For those of you who don't know, the government has a massive contract with Ford to build electric cars for the government. As far as bribes go, this is the least of the bad ones, right? This is actually because the government's gonna spend the money anyway. So if you give a contract to an American company to provide the service, again, as far as bribes go, it's the best of the bribes, or the least worst. It's the least worst of the bribe. This one's not so bad.
GM is making the largest investment in its history, $7 billion to build electric vehicles, creating 4,000 jobs in Michigan. All told,
none of those will make those
369,000 new manufacturing jobs were created in America last year alone.
Look at that. That's all because you.
Folks,
that's because you. Even 13-year-old kid knows that. He's like, yeah.
Powered by people I've met like JoJo Burgess from generations of union steelworkers in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Who's here tonight. Where are you, JoJo? There you
Hey,
go.
JoJo, show
Thanks,
us where you are.
buddy.
How you doing?
As Ohio,
Hey,
as
JoJo.
Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown says,
There we go.
Sherrod Brown
Ukrainian
says
flags.
it's time to bury the label Rust Belt.
I would agree.
It's time
Yep.
to see the what used to be called the Rust Belt become the home of a significant resurgence of manufacturing.
I think that would
And
be
with all
amazing.
the bright spots in our
But it
economy,
can't just be. Here's the problem that you constantly see. It's all going to work because we wrote checks, right? I'm not against them trying to support these groups. I think it's wonderful. Trying to support people is awesome. The question is, how do you do it? If you do it by writing checks, what happens when you don't write the check anymore? Then they all go under.
record job growth, higher wages. Too many families are struggling to keep up with their bills.
Okay, you just tell me how awesome it is. You just literally said the most this, the most that, the most this. Too many families are struggling. If everything's so awesome, then not that many families will be struggling, correct?
Inflation
Yes.
is robbing them of gains they thought
is.
otherwise they would be able
Putin's
to
fault.
feel. I get
Putin's
it.
fault. You do.
That's why my top priority is getting prices under control.
Top
Look,
priority. Okay, this is top priority, getting prices under control. You could just make a better environment and economy in general, but no, we're going to focus on price. We're going to make sure we don't attack that root at all. We're going to hit just the branch, and I'm sure everything will be fine.
our economy roared back faster than almost anyone predicted. But the
Okay.
pandemic meant that businesses had a hard time hiring enough people because of the pandemic.
No, no. Let's correct that now. Not because of the pandemic. Not because of the pandemic. For those of you who don't understand the science, I'm going to give you a little bit of science right now. What the pandemic does or did or is doing is it hurts and or kills people, particularly if you are over 65 with pre-existing conditions. Then it absolutely is devastating on you. That's what it does. What it does not do is shut down businesses. Viruses can't do that. They don't shut down businesses. They don't make people stay in school. They don't make people stay at home. Viruses can't do that. Only governments can. So viruses hurt and kill people. Yes, they do. Correct. But businesses get destroyed and economies get destroyed, not by viruses, but by government action. So please don't say it's the government's, it was the pandemic did this. It was you and your ilk that did this.
To keep up production in their factories.
Yeah.
So you didn't have people making those beams that went into buildings because they were out.
That's right. So people weren't making. You had a lack of labor, a lack of product. You're right, which creates inflation. Pandemic didn't do that. You did.
Factory was closed.
Yep.
The panic also disrupted the global supply chain.
Yeah, it did.
Factories close. When that happens, it takes longer to make goods and get them to the warehouses, to the stores.
Gets the
and
prices
go up.
You're right.
Look at
Prices go
cars
up.
last year.
Yep.
1/3 of all the inflation was because of automobile sales.
See that?
There weren't enough semiconductors to make all the cars that people wanted to buy.
That's correct.
guess
Oh,
what?
yes.
Prices of automobiles went way up,
Yep.
especially used vehicles as well.
Absolutely.
And
All
so
true.
we have a choice.
Okay, what's that choice?
One way to fight inflation is to drive down wages and make Americans poorer.
You could do that. I mean, yes, and you're not against that. That would be one thing you could do, but please don't do that one. But that's one.
I think I have a better idea to fight
Tell me.
inflation.
How you can do it?
Lower your costs, not your wages.
Brilliant. Oh,
Folks,
I want to stand too. Just lower the costs. It's like that. Sonia, why are you mad? Just lower the costs. Jesus, Logic, don't you get it? He has the magic answer. He said it. I got the answer. Lower the costs. Done and done. That's, you know, I got to tell you, when you think about business owners, the first thing I think of is spend too much money on the cost. They always do that, don't they? Wasteful on costs. They always do that. That's what business owners always do. So now, thanks to Biden, he's just going to order you to lower the costs. Well done. This guy's a business guy. I mean, he gets it. He totally gets it. Well done. Woo! You know, economy solved. All good. Huh. Love that. Yes. Lower the cost, dummies. What's wrong with you? Huh.
That means make more cars and semiconductors in America.
Well, okay, hold on. Okay, did he just say lower the cost and now he's going to I thought he was going to mandate it and pass a law and then it would magically happen because, when has price controls failed? Never. So clearly he would just do that. But no, he's going to tell us to make it lowering the cost. You're going to make more stuff in America.
More infrastructure and innovation in America.
America.
More goods moving faster and cheaper in America.
Okay.
More jobs where you can earn a good living in America.
So we're going to pay Americans more, make it all here, and that's going to lower the costs. The reason why we outsourced everything was to lower the costs. So you're saying lower the cost. How do we do that? By paying people more. By making everything here. By not using the supply chain. That'll fix it. Now, I might as well just say, hey, Benjamin, why don't you go to sleep? Okay, first, drink some Red Bull, snort some Coke, drink some coffee, so you can go to sleep. It's the same thing. I mean, if you did all those, you might go to sleep the wrong way. But anyway, the point is, I don't know what he's talking about.
Instead of relying on foreign supply chains, let's make it in America.
Because that'll make it cheaper. Because you know what people did? He's right. All the people who are making stuff, they thought, man, it's way cheap to make in America. I'm going to outsource it to China and use a global supply chain and outsource to India because it's more expensive because I just love driving costs up. I can't believe he just said any of this. And we're clapping. Yeah. Oh, so brilliant. Businessman Biden. Like this.
Economist.
Like this. And again, I'm not against building stuff in America. I'm not. Build stuff in America. Give Americans jobs. Yes. But then stop pretending that's going to be cheap. That's going to be more expensive. Let Americans know that if you care about Americans, that stamp was made in America means you got to pay a little bit more. And we as Americans will do so, or we won't. But we'll decide, and it's on us to decide how much does it matter, and we do it. I see it here in New York. Not as much now, but before the pandemic for sure. People would go into a bar and spend the extra $1 or $2 for a beer because it was a locally brewed beer. They wanted a locally brewed beer, and they paid the extra $1 for a beer. It was happening all the time. Did they have to? Could they have bought a cheaper brand? Of course they could have. They said, no, I want the local brand, and they spend the extra $1. That's the way to look at Buy America. It's going to cost you an extra $1 or $2 to buy American. Do you care? And if you do, drop the extra $1 or so. And we're good. No one says that, though. No one's saying that. And we should just be forward. If you want to buy American products, going to cost you a couple extra $1. You okay with that? Spend the money. Help America out. You're not? I get it. You're not. Go buy Chinese products. Oh, we're getting the USA on this one. Oh, pissing Republicans off right now. Republicans are like, that's our jam. You can't say that.
Call this increasing the productive capacity of our economy.
There's a bunch of trigger Republicans right now. They are so triggered. Oh, Democrats stole the USA chant. No one rushed the stage. So Republicans will be pissed off now.
I call it building a better America.
Way better. Yeah. Let's stand for that.
My plan to fight inflation.
Okay.
Will lower your cost and lower the deficit.
So his plan to fight inflation, which is spending tons of money, is going to lower costs and the deficit. This man literally has magic powers. Magic powers. I'm going to spend more money and lower the deficit and lower your costs. I love it. That's amazing.
17 Nobel laureates in economics said my plan will ease long-term inflationary pressures.
I now do not respect any Nobel laureates now because that's absolute garbage.
Top business leaders, and I believe most Americans support the plan. And here's the plan.
Tell me.
First, cut the cost of prescription drugs.
See? Just cut the cost. What's wrong with you? Why are you guys not getting it? Juan, why do you not get it? Just cut the cost. You guys never thought of that, you dummies. It's the same thing you just said. You thought that it was just for goods in general. No, prescription drugs too. Cut it. Done. Done and done. Easy day. That's just president things easier than I thought it was. Okay. Nobel laureates thought that one.
We
They were like,
pay more.
Nobel laureates are like, what should we do? What if we cut the cost? Let's just cut the cost. Nobel laureate, checkbox. Done. Done and done. Shannon's like, is he mandating that too? Yeah, we're mandating everything, Shannon. We're just going to mandate be happy. Done.
For the same drug produced by the same company in America and any other country in the world.
Yeah.
Just look at insulin.
Okay, let's look at
One in
insulin.
10 Americans has diabetes.
Okay, why aren't we talking about that? 1 in 10 Americans has diabetes. Why don't we do we should do the entire State of the Union on that. There's the biggest issue of forget cutting costs, forget Ukraine. 1 in 10 Americans has diabetes. This should be the entire State of the Union. How do we fix that?
In Virginia, I met a 13-year-old boy, the handsome young man standing up there, Joshua Davis.
Hey, Joshua.
He and his
Clap for
dad
him,
both have
'cause-
type 1 diabetes.
We're clapping because he has type 1 diabetes. I can't believe, yeah, he's got diabetes. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I'm not mad at the kid. I'm not. But having diabetes is not it's a thing. He's got that. It sucks. Why am I clapping? I don't know why I'm clapping. Yeah, he's got type 1. Literally, look, they're smiling. This is our country. We should be embarrassed. Hey, there's a kid who's got diabetes. Yeah. So good luck. So happy. I don't know. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. There we go.
Which means they need insulin every single day. Insulin
He was like, I need to have a kid. If one has diabetes, okay, have him show up. Put him in a tie. Come on, let's go.
costs about $10 a vial to make. That's what
$10
it costs the pharmaceutical company.
$10.
But
Okay.
drug companies charge families like Joshua and his dad up to 30 times that amount.
That's a lot of money.
I spoke with Joshua's mom.
Okay.
Imagine what it's like to look at your child
Yeah.
who needs insulin to stay healthy
That sucks.
and have no idea how in God's name you're going to be able to pay for it.
Which is why we should not have been clapping 5 minutes ago. You are correct. We should not be clapping. That was a terrible thing. You're right. That's I hope I'm never in that situation. That would suck. And the fact that we have 1 in 10 Americans that have diabetes, that's not a clappable event.
For it. What it does to your family, but
Yeah.
what it does to your dignity,
Yep.
your ability
Agreed.
to look your child in the eye, to be the parent you expect yourself to be.
100%
I
correct.
really mean to think about that.
I know you do mean
That's
that.
what I
That's
think
true.
about.
He does think. He has some empathy. So this part's real. I think he honestly believes this is terrible, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure. Yes.
You know, yesterday, Joshua's here tonight, but yesterday was his birthday. Happy birthday, buddy, by the way.
Happy birthday. That's cool. Nice. That you clap
Joshua.
for. This is appropriate clapping, not for diabetes.
And
This is appropriate clapping.
200,000 other young people with type 1 diabetes. Let's cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month.
Done.
So
Brilliant.
everyone can afford it.
Everyone could afford it. $35. Let's just cap it. See? Not only does he lower costs, but he caps cost. You guys didn't see that coming. See, Shelly didn't see that coming. She was like, I guess we could lower the price, the cost, and then he's like, we're gonna cap it. Shelly was like, mind blown. I can't believe it. We're just gonna cap it. Just done. $35. Done. Why $35? I think $6.50. $6.50. Just cap it. What's your problem? You guys don't get it. This guy's a genius and has magic powers. You guys all mad and stuff. Look at that. Cap it. Done. Done and done.
And drug companies will do very, very well. Their
They'll
profit
do
margins.
great when you cap. Companies always do well when you just cap stuff. When you tell a company, I don't care how much it costs you, you only get $10. Companies they love that. Companies cannot wait to be capped. They cannot wait. It's awesome. They absolutely never, ever use loopholes to get around it and or the black market and or punish people and or provide poor service. That never happens ever. They just accept what the government says and smile and do very well. They never do the other things that I just said, like write regulations that get around it, finding loopholes, or go to the black market, or give terrible service. That never happens ever. Never. They always just accept what government says and smile. Always. Yes.
While we're at it, I know we have great disagreements on this floor with this.
We're gonna do some more stuff here. I was already with the capping and the locking and the, whoa, Uncle Joe, you're gonna get ahead of yourself now. Okay.
Let's let Medicare negotiate the price of prescription drugs.
No, that's not a bad one. Okay, there was something decent in there. That's not a bad deal. Negotiating is good. Okay, that one's probable. Do that one.
Set the price for VA drugs.
Yeah, okay.
Look, the American Rescue Plan is helping millions of families with affordable care.
Look, a clock's right twice a day, right? A broken clock's right twice a day. He got a good one. That's fine.
Plans to save them $2,400 a year on their health premiums. Let's close the coverage gap and make these savings permanent.
Just make it permanent. Easy day.
Let's cut energy costs for families. An average of $500 a year by combating climate change.
Okay, so to be clear, we're going to cut energy costs for families by combating climate change. All right, now we got something going on now. Okay, this one I got to find this is real magic powers now here. You thought the other one was magic? He's about to put you to shame. Give me some real magic.
An investment tax credits to weatherize your home and your business, to be energy efficient and get a tax credit for it.
It's not bad. Okay, it's of all the stuff he said, that's not a bad one. It's not great, but it's fine. I'm not ready to fight on this one. It's fine.
Double America's clean energy production in solar, wind, and so much more. Lower the price of electric vehicles, saving another $80 a month. How are you
going to lower the price of all this stuff? Is government going to pay for everything?
Folks.
Okay, I'm assuming that he's lowering the prices by writing big checks. That's my assumption.
What we can do to change the standard of living for hardworking folks
is
cut the cost of childcare.
Cut it. Just cut the cost of childcare. See, I don't understand you people. You got a problem. The price is too high. Cut the cost. Come on. Duh. Just do it. Done and done. We're going to cut. I don't get why Trump didn't do this. Why Obama didn't do this. These guys were dumb. This guy's brilliant. Trump and Obama and Bush didn't get it. They just cut the cost of everything. He's doing it all. This guy's brilliant.
Cut the cost of childcare.
Just cut the cost. What's wrong with you? You people. Did you figure that one out yet?
If you live in a major city in America, you pay up to $14,000 a year for childcare per child.
See that? And that didn't happen before the government stepped in and regulated all the churches and local groups out of existence. Prior to that, childcare was nowhere near that amount of money. In fact, when I was a kid in the Bronx, literally a neighbor took care of kids. You can't do that anymore. That's against the law. If I leave my kid with a neighbor like that and someone calls the cops, they could take my kid from me. I'm not joking. CPS could literally take my child from me if my child isn't, 14 or whatever is the age. I forgot what the age is. They might take my kid from me. If that woman is a licensed whatever, blah, 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 they might even find her or put her in jail. That was the way we did childcare when I was a kid. Somehow communities got together and solved that. Churches used to be childcare facilities in more rural areas. They got regulated out also. You could in theory not have so much regulation and allow parents to take care of their kids and how they see fit, and that might lower the costs. Or you could just write big checks. You're going to go with the big checks.
I was a single dad for 5 years, raising 2 kids. I had a lot of help, though.
You did. You had a lot of help. Back then, there weren't regulations stopping you, were there?
I had a mom, a dad, a brother, and a sister that really helped.
You had a community. Other people may not have brother and father and sister around, but they have other community members around them. You could use those.
But middle class and working folks shouldn't have to pay more than 7% of their income to care for the young children.
7% of their income.
My plan.
That's the number right there, 7%.
My plan would cut the cost of child care in half for most families.
Wow.
And help.
I wonder why it's 7%. Do like 5. Do 3. 3% is the number. You know what? 1% per kid. See that? I have the real magic powers. You have 10 kids, 10%. You got one kid, 1%. Done deal. Problem solved. I'm better than him at this. All right. But he's good, though. He's still good.
Parents, including millions of women who left the workforce during the pandemic because they couldn't afford childcare.
No, because you ruined their lives by... No. Because you ruined their lives by shutting down schools and not letting them work. Not because they couldn't afford childcare. Because before the pandemic, they could. See, there's the thing. The thing that happened 2 years ago was your horrible and your ilk's horrible rules and regulations and mandates for the pandemic. It wasn't that childcare was too, I mean, it was too expensive, but they had dealt with that. It was you ended their job and the schools. That's the reason.
To be able to get back to work, generating economic growth. But my plan doesn't stop there. It also includes home and long-term care, more affordable housing.
Wow.
Pre-K for 3- and 4-year-olds.
Pre-K, give them everything.
All these will lower costs to families.
Wow.
Under my plan, nobody, let me say this again, nobody earning less than $400,000 a year will pay an additional penny in new taxes. Not a single penny.
Okay, so I guess the rich people are just going to write big checks for this because rich people always do that. Well, hold on. Let me see if I can remember all the times the rich people decided to pay more money. I'm going to use paper for this one because it's a lot of work to do, and I got to get my head around this. All the times rich people actually paid the new expensive taxes. Carry the 5. I got to count the 1950. Round up. Yeah, 0. Never. Not one time. Most of the countries who start to raise taxes on their wealthy ended it because they realized that a flat tax was better and safer, right? The problem you see all the time is that when the wealthy get taxed, they find loopholes or they write the laws. Who's writing those laws? Lobbyists. You think some working class person in Omaha is writing the law? No, it's some wealthy guy or gal and their cronies. They're writing the laws. This is fantasy. This is fantasy. It's just gonna be debt. It's just gonna be debt. Our debt's gonna go to like $35 trillion. It's gonna be debt, and we're throwing more money away.
I may be wrong, but my guess is if we took a secret ballot in this floor, that we'd all agree that the present tax system ain't fair.
That's true.
We have to fix it.
I would agree. Flat tax would be something. We could go there or something. We could do something like that. All right. Why don't we discuss that then? Okay. Can we have that conversation?
Punish anybody. Well, let's make corporations and wealthy Americans start paying their fair share.
See, you gotta be fair share. That's the thing.
Last year.
That's the thing.
Last year. Like Chris Coons and Tom Carper and my distinguished Congresswoman.
Yeah.
We come from the land of corporate America. There are more corporations incorporated in America than every other state in America combined.
Oh, he means Delaware.
And I still won 36
he meant
years
Delaware.
in a row. The point is, even they understand they should.
Okay. He thinks he's saying something wise here, but he's not. What he meant to say is Delaware has more incorporated companies in it than every other state in the union combined. That's what he meant to say, than every state in America. That's what he meant to say. He goes, and I still won 36 years. Yeah, because maybe you're in their pocket. That wasn't a good thing.
Pay just a fair share. Last year, 55 of the Fortune 500 companies earned $40 billion in profit and paid 0 in federal taxes.
So you're telling me that all those companies did not pay any payroll tax at all to the federal government? None. No Social Security taxes. None. No payroll taxes. No SSI. They paid none of that. None of that went to the federal government. Or does he mean they paid no federal corporate tax? They didn't pay any sales tax at all on their goods. They didn't pay any import fees. No tariffs. None of that. They didn't pay any fines and fees. Nothing. They paid nothing. 0. Is that true? I think that's not true, but I could be wrong. Maybe he's got it all, right? Maybe he's got that. Maybe, I don't know.
No, look, it's not fair. That's why I proposed a 15% minimum tax rate for corporations. We've got
I guess that'll fix it. I don't know.
The G7 and other meetings overseas were able to put together, I was able to be somewhat helpful, 130 countries agree on a global minimum tax rate. So companies can't get out of paying their taxes at home by shipping jobs and factories.
Look, I mean, is that theoretically a decent idea? It's not. It's not against. I'm not going to go crazy over a bunch of countries deciding a minimum tax. The world's not going to end over it. But how is that the answer? Right? It's a bad answer. It's another answer that's bad. There are so many other ways of making this work. Clearly, I'd rather have a better sales tax. I would accept the flat. I know some of you are mad at flat tax, but compared to what we have now, I would take it, right? We're moving in the opposite direction. Let's move towards that. I would take the flat tax. I would take almost any other tax that would be fairer and better. I would.
Overseas, it'll raise billions of dollars. That's why I propose closing loopholes for the very wealthy who don't pay.
I have never heard closing loopholes before, except every single president for the past 40 years. For the past 40 years. Terrible.
Lower tax rate than a teacher and a firefighter. So that's my plan, but we'll go more detail later.
Sure,
we will grow the economy.
We'll pass it.
Lower the cost
we'll find
of
out
families.
What's in it.
So what are we waiting for?
Agree.
Let's get this done. We all know we've got to make changes.
Let's all write more checks.
Folks.
Let's just write some more checks. I'm in.
And while you're at it.
Yeah.
Confirm my nominees for the Federal Reserve, which plays a critical role.
Again, I'm going to be clear. I'm not against. Look, President picks him. Let it go.
My plan will not only lower
I'm not ready to fight
costs
on
and
that
give
one.
families a fair shot. It will lower the deficit. The
Lower
previous
the deficit
administration not only ballooned the deficit with those tax cuts for the very wealthy and corporations, it undermined the watchdogs, the job of those to keep pandemic relief.
So he's going to spend all this money and cut deficit. He's got more magic powers than I thought.
Should be able to see every day how much money was being spent, where was it going to the right place. But in my administration, the watchdogs are back.
Oh.
And we're going to go after the criminals who stole billions of relief money meant for small business and millions of Americans. Tonight, I'm announcing that the Justice Department will soon name a chief prosecutor for pandemic
Another
fraud.
prosecutor. We got one for the Russians and one for the Americans. You prosecute everybody. So you made a terrible idea and plan of writing checks to everybody, and then people who screwed up paperwork are now going to go to jail.
I think we all agree. Thank you.
I guess that works.
This year, the deficit will be down to less than half of what it was before I took office. The only president ever to cut the deficit by more than $1 trillion in a single year.
The fact that you could cut the deficit by $1 trillion and still have a deficit, you should be embarrassed that that even exists. You're proud that I can cut the deficit by $1 trillion and there's still a deficit. That's not even debt. That's just how much money we spent than what we brought in 1 year. So $1 trillion deficit that you just put a dent in, and we still got about $1 trillion deficit. And you're like, see how awesome I am? Wow.
Cost also meant demanding more competition.
Oh.
I'm a capitalist.
Yes, you are.
Capitalism without competition is not capitalism.
Oh, he's a capitalist. I'm a capitalist. I will spend your capital all over the place. So I guess in theory, he's right. He will invest your capital all over the country, all over the world, in fact. So I guess that makes you a capitalist.
Capitalism without competition is exploitation.
Oh, you just made the lefties stand up. You just got the lefties in there.
And corporations have to compete.
They ate that up.
Their profits go up and your prices go up when they don't have to compete.
What?
Small businesses and family farmers and ranchers, I need not tell some of my Republican friends from those states. Guess what? You got 4 basic meat packing facilities.
Yeah.
That's it. You play with them or you don't get to play at all.
Or you could make like what Wyoming did. You could make all of any local farmers not have to worry about federal regulations, in which case they won't have to use those 4. they can use local or even their own. See that? You could do that. That's just one way of doing it. Then who cares at that point?
And you pay a hell of a lot more. A hell of a lot more because there's only 4. See what's happening with ocean carriers and moving goods in and out of America.
Yes.
During the pandemic, about half a dozen or less foreign-owned companies raised prices by as much as 1,000%.
You just said that reason why.
Tonight, I'm announcing a crackdown on those companies overcharging American businesses and consumers.
Oh, so now you're going to go and decide. He's now going to go and decide what contract was fair and what contract wasn't fair, even though 20 minutes ago he told us that because of all the issues with COVID, that they couldn't hire people, that the factories were shut down, his problems, and he hasn't gotten rid of Jones Act, which is another useless law which is stopping everything. So he's now going to go and decide what's fair and unfair and retroactively punish those that he thinks are unfair. I got a feeling some of his cronies are going to get some advantages. People who don't donate him are going to see have a visit. Okay, anyway, some of you guys about a global tax. I am absolutely against the global tax. I was saying an agreement that they all have the same tax rate. That's what it is, that we'd all agree that there's a global tax rate, not a global tax. That was his concept. His idea was if everyone has the same tax rate, then companies will only go to other countries based upon where, based upon what country they live in theory. That's his idea. It's not going to work. It's a bad idea because countries have different tax rates, corporate tax rates, because they gain taxes from different issues and different reasons, different ways, different expenses. So having an actual global tax rate is not even practical, makes no sense. However, what I'm saying is compared to this other stuff, let it go. It'll be what it is. My point is it's a bad idea. It's not going to work and can't function. It's a global tax rate, not a global tax.
Wall Street firms take over more nursing homes. Quality in those homes has gone down.
Yeah.
And costs have gone up.
That's correct. Who runs the nursing homes? Oh, right, the government.
That ends on my watch.
Oh,
Medicare is going to set higher standards for nursing homes and make sure your loved ones get the care they deserve and that they inspect and they will look at closely.
That's all that matters.
We're also going to cut costs to keep the economy going strong and giving workers a fair shot.
He is
Provide
cutting
more
costs.
Training and apprenticeships, hire them based on skills, not just their degrees. Let's pass the Paycheck Fairness Act and paid leave.
Oh, the Paycheck Fairness Act and paid leave.
$15 an hour.
Because you got to make stuff cheaper. So let's pass these bills that'll make it harder to hire people. Build stuff in America. Meanwhile, I'll make it harder to hire Americans.
And extend the child tax credit so no one has to raise a family in poverty. Let's increase Pell Grants, increase our historic support for HBCUs.
See that?
And invest in what Jill, our First Lady who teaches full-time, calls America's best-kept secret, community colleges.
Why is the government giving money to these things?
Let's pass the PRO Act. When the majority of workers want to form a union, they shouldn't be able to be stopped.
Who's stopping them?
Workers, and we build an economy from the bottom up and the middle out together. We can do something we haven't done in a long time. Build a better America. For more than 2 years, COVID has impacted every decision in our lives.
No, it hasn't. No, that's it. No, I'm not letting you over that. For 2 years, you and your ilk and your government lockdowns, mandates, and rules, you have dictated every part of our life, not the disease. Remember, diseases, viruses hurt and kill people, particularly if you're over 65 with comorbidities, particularly them.
And the life of this nation.
Yeah.
And I know you're tired, frustrated, and exhausted.
100%.
That doesn't even count the close to 1 million people who sit at a dining room table or a kitchen table and look at an empty chair.
Yep.
Because they lost somebody.
True. Yep.
But I also know this.
Yeah.
Because of the progress we've made.
Yeah.
Because of your resilience.
Yeah.
And the tools that we have been provided by this Congress.
Yeah.
Tonight I can say we're moving forward.
Okay. Tools means money.
Safely back to a more normal routines.
You couldn't even say that with a straight face because you knew that was a lie. That was such a lie. Look at Kamala like, wow. Look at both of them in the background. Look at them. Such a lie. He's like, he couldn't get it out because it was such a lie. And Pelosi's like, why are you lying? Look at that face. Why are you lying? You're such a liar. It's never going back to normal, and you know it, you liar. That's literally what Nancy Pelosi's face says right now. And Kamala's like, damn, you actually said that. Okay. It's no blatantly lie.
We've reached a new moment in the fight against COVID-19.
Yeah.
Where severe cases are down to a level not seen since July of last year.
See that?
Just a few days ago, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention issued a new mask guidelines.
See that?
Under the new guidelines, most Americans and most of the country can now go mask-free.
Look at that. Some government agency that has literally no accountability whatsoever decides what I wear on my face. And now we can be mask-free. Aren't we lucky that some agency that we don't even know who runs it or how they run it and has deemed it true? And even better, now if you're mad at it, he can say it was the CDC, not me. And if you're not mad at it, he can say, see, without me, you would all be dead. It's win-win for him. Well done.
And based on projections.
Okay.
Based on projections.
Come into projections.
More of the country will reach a point across the next couple of weeks.
Oh.
And thanks to the progress we've made in the past year, COVID-19 no longer need control our lives.
It didn't. You control our lives. I got to say it again. It never did. You did. You did. COVID doesn't have magic powers that forces me to do stuff. That's not how that works. You have jails and guns that do force me to do stuff. COVID doesn't. So that is not true.
I know some are talking about living with COVID-19.
Yeah.
But tonight, I say that we never will just accept living with COVID-19.
Yeah.
We'll continue to combat the virus as we do other diseases.
As we should have in the first place.
Because this virus mutates and spreads, we have
like
to stay
every disease.
on guard.
Yes.
Here are 4 common sense steps as we move forward safely.
I'm going to vomit.
First, stay protected with vaccines and treatments. We know how incredibly effective vaccines are.
I'm going to move past this. I can't even handle this. I'm sorry. I got to move past this. I'm going to want to vomit.
Awful disease.
I don't want to.
Let's stop seeing each other as enemies and start seeing each other for who we are. Fellow Americans.
Yes, that's true.
Look.
Not wrong. That's true. I like that. That's true. That's nice. I mean, he doesn't believe it, but that's nice. I like it. It's nice. You know, Nancy doesn't believe that at all.
It was a long time in coming.
Yep, it's true.
We can change how to move forward.
Okay, tell me how.
COVID-19 and other issues that we must face together.
All right, I'm going to move past this too. I got to move past.
A former federal public defender from a family of public school education.
Move past this, don't care.
Treatments. Stop the flow of illicit drugs by working with state and local law enforcement to go after the traffickers. And if you're suffering.
You know what's funny? Here's how we deal with addiction. We'll go after the traffickers. Okay, here's the weird part. Haven't we been doing that for 50 years? Isn't that literally the war on drugs? So his answer is, you know what we'll do? We'll go after these guys with state and local police force. I mean, with everything. We'll treat it like a war on drugs. Yeah, because that'll work. 70 years, 50 years of failure.
From addiction, you should know you're not alone. Yeah. I believe in recovery, and I celebrate the 23 million Americans in recovery.
That's true. It's good. I like that.
Let's take on mental health.
That's good.
Especially among our children whose lives and education have been turned upside down. The American Rescue Plan gave schools money to hire teachers and help students make up for lost learning. I urge every parent.
Everything's just
to
right
make sure
checks.
your school does just that. They have the money. We
That's
can
the
all
issue.
play a part. Sign up to be a tutor or a mentor.
Money, money, money. I'm not against the idea of money. I like money. I think most of us like money. But all he says is, let's just spend more money. We've been spending money on the war on drugs. We've been spending money on addiction, and it doesn't work. You have to change the culture,
Children were
change
also
your
struggling
policy.
before the pandemic. Bullying, violence, trauma, and the harms of social media.
The harm.
As Frances Haugen, who is here tonight with us, has shown, we must hold social media platforms accountable for the national experiment they're conducting on our children for profit.
See? It's that damn profit. That's the problem. It's that profit again. Let's attack social media because that's the issue.
Folks, thank you. Thank you for the courage you showed.
Thank you.
It's
Profit's
time to
bad.
strengthen privacy protections.
Didn't he just say I'm a capitalist?
Ban targeted advertising to children.
Ban advertising.
Companies stop collecting personal data on our children. And let's get all Americans the mental health services they need. More people can turn for help, and full parity between physical and mental health care if we treat it that way in our insurance.
Well, okay, that's not a bad idea. Okay, mental and physical. Okay, I'll give him some. That's a good one. Okay. I don't know how you're just going to... Some of the stuff is just so bad I don't even know how to act.
Support our veterans. Veterans are the backbone and the spine of this country.
Yet you're about to start a war with in Ukraine and create more broken veterans. You want to stop having to deal with broken veterans? War vets? Stop making war vets. You could just do that. And let's fix the ones that you got. We have tons of them. We could fix the ones that we have instead of worrying about making more of them.
They're the best of us. I've always believed that we have a sacred obligation to equip those we send to war and care for those in their family when they come home.
That's true.
But
we haven't done it. We haven't done it. The worst we ever did was Vietnam. What we did to our Vietnam vets, I mean, we should be ashamed of that literally for decades. More than that. Multiple. We should be so ashamed of what we did when our Vietnam vets came home. That we should remember that literally forever. That's how bad it was. We aren't that bad when they come home now. We're good when the vets come home now. But then after the home, we abandon them. Vietnam was the worst ever.
Administration providing assistance in job training, housing, and now helping lower-income veterans get VA care debt-free. And our troops in Iraq and Afghanistan have faced many dangers. One being stationed at bases breathing in toxic smoke from burn pits.
It's true.
Many of you have been there. I've been in and out of Iraq and Afghanistan over 40 times.
Yeah. Yes. You probably shouldn't have been voting to send us there. You probably should have stopped us from going there, but yeah.
These burn pits that incinerate waste, the waste of war, medical and hazardous material, jet fuel, and so much more. And they come home. Many of the world's fittest and best trained warriors in the world.
Yeah.
Never the same. Headaches, numbness, dizziness.
All true.
A cancer that would put them in a flag draped coffin.
Yep.
I know. One of those soldiers was my son, Major Bo Biden. I don't know for sure if the burn.
Oh, okay. Look, I'm going to be clear about this one. I beat up Biden all the time. I do. I beat up lots of people all the time. But I'm not going to mess with a man who lost his son. He lost his son, a veteran who came back from Iraq, and the cancer he got might have, he doesn't know, might have come from one of those burn pits. He had to bury his son, who was like 40 or something. I forgot how old his son was. His son wasn't that old, 40 or 50. He had to bury his son. And for those people, literally for those people who actually said that stuff, they're wrong. They shouldn't open their mouth. They should have kept their mouth shut. Now when he's talking about his own son, he did lose somebody for this. He lost somebody. So this one, I'm going to shut my mouth. He took more pain. There is no worse pain than losing your child. That is the worst pain. There's nothing worse. There's an old saying. They say the worst phrase you can ever hear is "I have cancer." That is a lie. The worst phrase you can ever hear is your child has cancer. That's the worst phrase you can ever hear. Not "you're going to die," your child's going to die. I did hear that. Luckily, my child did not die. But that is the worst. That's the worst. So I'm going to let that go. We can move on from that. We're going to move on. I'm going to let that go. I'm going to let that go.
More to make our forces more safer and be able to wage war with more clarity.
And to be clear, it doesn't mean I can't get mad at the 13 people who died. I know some of you are upset about that. I get it. But not when he's talking about his son. Right? You don't get. Not when he's talking about his son is all I'm saying, right? At that point, I think you got to give him a break at that point. That's all I'm saying. So that's where my head is. It's losing your child is horrible. That's the end of that one. I want to show you a little bit of something else, though. A little bit of something else. A little bit. And this you may or may not enjoy. After all of that stuff, the Republicans said, we're going to show you what we got. We are going to do a response to this. And this Republicans sending out their best, sending out they're ready to rock and roll. Here come Republicans. Watch out. Republicans, show what you got.
I'm Kim Reynolds, governor of the great state of Iowa. Like you, I just watched the president's address.
Okay.
I listened as the governor of our state, as a mom and a grandmother of 11 who's worried our country is on the wrong track.
Okay.
We're now 1 year into his presidency, and instead of moving America forward, it feels like President Biden and his party have sent us back in time to the late 70s and early 80s, when runaway inflation was hammering families, a violent crime wave was crashing our cities, and the Soviet Army was trying to redraw the world map.
Okay, no, this is exciting.
Even before taking the oath of office, the president told us that he wanted to, quote, make America respected around the world again, and to unite us here at home. He's failed on both fronts. The disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal
oh my God, she's terrible.
did more than cost American lives.
Oh my God, this is the best they could come up with. This is the best they can come up with. This goes to exactly what I've been saying. The Democrats are the party of bad ideas. The Republicans are the party of no ideas. She says, and let me tell you why Biden's bad. He's just bad. Let me move forward. Is anything?
Adopting their children is the answer to their problems. They won't tell you that we should be paying people not to work. And they certainly won't tell you that we should give billions in tax giveaways to millionaires and billionaires in Democrat-controlled states like California, New York.
Okay, so what she's decided to do is go, okay, I'm going to give you now some red meat to Republicans, which is fine. I'm not against you giving money to Republicans. I mean, giving red meat to Republicans is fine, but this is supposed to be your response. You're supposed to be getting people who aren't already on your side. The people who are on your side and don't like Biden already have heard all these things, already know all these things. You're not telling them anything. You're like, see, just keep remembering the talking points. And the Republican Party thought, you know what we should do? Let's put out Miss Boring. That's the answer. There was nobody more exciting that you could have brought up. Nobody?
And New Jersey. But that's what the Biden administration has been pushing for over the last year. And that's all part.
Elaine says, Brandon Man bad. Well done, Elaine. It's very good.
Build Back Better. Thankfully, the president's agenda didn't pass because even members of.
She's blatantly reading it. Thankfully, the president's agenda didn't pass. Why did you pick her? Wow. I'm falling asleep. You're done. I'll go a little bit further and see if there's something here that's worth anything.
In this country lies in our people, not government.
Oh.
You shouldn't have to wake up every morning and worry about the next thing the government is going to do to you, your business, or your children.
So all of a sudden, now you're libertarian? Where's your party been? Now you're libertarian. So where's your policies? Nowhere.
If we as elected leaders are doing our job, then the government is working well, but operating in the background. It's supporting the ingenuity and spirit.
Oh my God. Okay, this is horrible. Okay, scratch that. Yeah. Alexander says they should have used Kristi Noem. I just saw Kristi Noem here in New York like 2 days ago. Great speaker, much better. Off the cuff. She just talks. She doesn't come in with paper and read stuff. She talks off the cuff. This person's horrible. Sorry, you put me to sleep. This is terrible. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. All right, last one. Now this one, some of you will love and some of you will hate. But the left was like, Biden, you aren't left enough. So I'm going to go ahead and do our own response because you aren't left enough. So we're going to do the working families State of the Union response. That's what we're going to do because, you know, that's the most important piece right there. So let me give you that one. This one I'm sure you will all just adore. You'll love tremendously.
I am the proud daughter of Palestinian immigrant parents that
This is Rashida Tlaib.
grew up in the most beautiful, blackest city in the country, city of Detroit.
So she starts right off the bat with, I'm Palestinian and I grew up in the blackest city, because you have to immediately virtual signal. You must. If you don't virtual signal immediately, then you're bad. So well done. And woman of color who's doing the signing, well, all boxes checked. Well done. This is all boxes checked. Well done.
I am honored to be with all of you tonight to elevate the voices of our families and our communities across the country that continue to be left behind.
Yep.
As the mother of 2 boys and the eldest of 14 children,
14.
I have been taking care of people all my life.
I love that.
My service in Congress is guided by my roots.
Okay.
That's why I'm committed to standing up for our communities that just want the opportunity to thrive.
Okay, this is all about, okay, let me move a little further. This must be about how cool she is. I'm not sure what's going on here. Let me see if I can find something better here.
Engage new people, and we even played hardball in Congress.
Okay.
But 2 forces stood in the way.
Okay, what's
a
that?
Republican Party that serves only the rich and the powerful.
See that, you Republicans? You only service the rich and the powerful. That's your problem, Republicans. If you knew what Joe Biden did, you would just cut costs, cut costs. But you know, you only service the rich and the powerful. That's your problem.
And just enough corporate-backed Democratic obstructionists to help them succeed.
Ooh. Okay, she's actually right on that one. Okay, look, see that? Every single time there's something right, and she's right here. There are a bunch of corporate-backed Democrats that stopped it. That's true. Okay, I'm going to give her that.
Some important parts of the president's agenda became law with the infrastructure bill.
Okay.
But we campaigned on doing even more.
Okay.
Roads and bridges are critical.
Yes.
But so are childcare and prescription drugs.
He talked about that already.
We shouldn't have to choose.
He's cutting costs.
People like India Beckham, a mother of 7 children in my district, who is the sole provider for her family.
Wow.
The expanded child tax credit helped her catch up on bills and meet her family's basic needs.
I get it. You wrote a check.
But now that lifeline is gone, and we can't give up on her and millions of people like her.
Okay. Doesn't that mean that at this point, shouldn't we? And this is a fair point. If you have 7 kids and you're a single mom, I hope that your community can assist you. You should be assisted. Whatever decisions you made, whether it was your issue or bad luck or whatever happened to her in that position, people mess up. I get it. And that woman should be helped. I agree. Why in the world will we be thinking that the right answer is a tax credit from the government when instead it could be a community? You told me you grew up in this great city. Okay, let's focus on the community helping her out. We used to do that. We can do that again.
With the majority of the Build Back Better agenda stalled, Mr. President, our work is unfinished.
Yeah, Elaine says maybe she's a widow. I don't know her situation. That might be a woman who had 7 kids and her husband was hit by a car. Who knows? It could be she's a refugee. It could be she made bad decisions and has a bunch of baby daddies. Anything in between. I have no idea who she is. She could just be someone who's very unlucky. Bad stuff happened to her. Who knows? I don't know. All I'm saying is, whatever the situation is, why is government having to step in? Why isn't community and family supporting her? And why aren't we encouraging that?
We are ready to jumpstart our work again. We still have time to lower costs for working families and preserve a livable planet for our grandchildren.
He's already doing it.
But we must act now.
She's messing up too. Like, I mean, I get why they picked her because she's like running the squad. But it's as if these people have never been in the game before, right? They're making mistakes. They're bouncing around. I do all my stuff live with no notes. You see me. I do this stuff live with no notes. I just riff. I watch your comments. I try to react to your comments. These guys are professionals, right? Why aren't they better at this? And they're just not. It's pretty bad.
The super rich got richer during the pandemic, while
yeah, because of your policies. You shut down all the little people. They couldn't work. They couldn't go to school. The business collapsed. So what do? We ordered everything from Amazon and went on Google. Yeah.
Beckham and others face higher costs and new barriers that will forever alter their children's future.
You did it. Yes, you screwed up. You put them 2 years behind education too. You did all that.
I want us to imagine, just imagine a government where corporate donors don't drive healthcare, climate, education, and poverty policies.
You do it instead.
Where the working families of our nation really call the shots.
Yeah.
It's time. It's time we had a majority in Congress to fight for us, a working families majority. No matter who you are, or where you're from, most of us want the same things.
This is
a good paying job, a safe community, clean air and water, good schools,
she's right,
and a brighter future for our families.
Yes, yes, and yes. You know, the goals of the working families, the goals of Democrats and Republicans, the goals are good goals. I think her goals are good. I agree with her. My problem isn't the goal. My problem is how you get there. That's my problem. Your way of getting there is terrible. It is horrible. And the Republicans' way of getting there is good luck. So those two are not an answer.
Enough to thrive, not just survive. So what would a working families majority do?
Tell me.
We'd work with President Biden to deliver for you and your family.
Okay, tell me.
We'd guarantee healthcare as a basic right, because after 2 years of this pandemic, we can't allow corporate profits to determine who lives and who dies.
Okay, corporate profits don't decide that. Who decided that was government. You decided what we could do and what we couldn't do in our hospitals. Literally, people couldn't get checkups and died of heart attacks, died of cancer. I'm not joking. You did that. How can corporate profits deal with government-run healthcare and government-run hospitals? This is fantasy. It's as if you don't know what system you're in. That's not how it works. And you're like, well, we have to make healthcare right because then it'll be good. New York State made education a right. In New York State, education is a right. It's in our Constitution. And our education is at best ranked 25th, at worst ranked 37th. That's how good that right made it. Making it a right made it worse. It didn't make it better. If you make healthcare a right, it will be worse, not better. There is literally no example of that not being true. We have a First Amendment right, but you took that down too. We have a Second Amendment right. You don't like that one at all. I'm not sure this makes any sense.
We'd stand up to big pharma and insurance companies, and we'd make drug prices for life-saving medicine like insulin actually affordable.
Biden said that. You didn't watch his thing. You pre-taped this. Is that what it is? He said he's going to cap it at $35. What are you doing?
And we'd make abortion care a fundamental right so that no Supreme Court could ever take it away. We'd pass the End Child Poverty Act that Representative Mondaire Jones and I introduced so that parents like India Beckham and millions more could provide for the basics that every child needs to thrive.
So everybody gets money?
We'd fight. We'd fight together for respect for all of our workers. That means a minimum wage of at least $15 an hour that rises with inflation.
Wow.
The freedom to join a union without harassment or intimidation, and paid and family medical leave for our workers.
You just want to write more checks? You want to write more checks than Biden does. That's what this is. Hi, I'm another Democrat. I think Biden wants to write a lot of checks. And I like the checks that he's writing. He's just not writing enough checks. We have to write even more checks. Look, I know we're 30 some odd $30 trillion in debt. That's not good enough. We need to be like $40 trillion in debt. Look, I know we have about $1 trillion deficit. Not enough. $2 trillion deficit. That's kind of basically what she's saying, right? Am I getting that right? Biden doesn't go far enough. I like the spending. Let's double it.
From the baristas at home, in my home community in Great Lakes Coffee, to the teachers in Minnesota, to the Amazon workers in Alabama.
Yeah, tell me.
Workers are speaking up for a voice and dignity on the job.
Yeah, see, this is the thing that bothers me. When it comes to all the lockdowns and when it comes to what's happened, a lot of workers are stepping up. I completely agree. And I think they should. If you would think that I'm anti-worker, you're incorrect. I'm pro-worker. I love the idea that people look at a boss and go, I'm not working for you. You don't give me enough money. You don't have the right environment for me. I think it's awesome. And workers are doing that. So now what we're doing is, and this is actually what we're doing, we're now taking the power away from the worker and putting it in the government, and the government is now enforcing it. One of the reasons why government has been so inept in the past was because unions were supposed to be doing the work for them. Government was fighting unions. Then they joined forces. Now government's doing a lot of the union's work, which makes a union kind of inept. If the government's going to enforce all the rules that a union used to do, then what's the use of a union? Because the government's going to enforce all union rules. So what you're actually doing is taking the power away from a reinvigorated American workforce. If you notice, people in the workforce are looking to get and voice their rights and get more stuff, and they should. That's how a market is supposed to work. Labor is a part of the market. And when labor becomes very valuable, people who work should be fighting and saying, no, I'm worth more. You got to pay me more. And then people decide how valuable they are. That's how a market works. She's actually hurting them in the long run, but she doesn't know any better. I actually think that in her heart, she thinks she's doing the right thing. And the problem we have, and Joe says $40 trillion in debt to flatten the curve. I think the problem she has is a valid one that actually Jon Stewart brought up. Jon Stewart was talking about how we just keep writing checks to spend more money. It's a valid point. We just keep going into debt. So because we just keep going to debt, people like her see that and go, so if we want to go to war, we can find $2 trillion and just make magic money. If the banks are in trouble, we can just write a check and give them more money. So her logic is, if you can give them more money, well, then give the poor mom more money. And you know what? She's right. She is. We shouldn't be giving anybody all that money, whether you're a corporation, a bank, the military industrial complex, any of them. Her point is a valid one. If we're going to write $2 trillion checks to banks, why shouldn't we write it to the poor mom? It's a valid point. How about none of it? How about none of it? How about government stay out of it?
I saw what a union meant for my family growing up, as my father was a member of the United Auto Workers. Mm-hmm. This smile's because of the UAW. They ensured that our family had access to dental care. So this is our time. This is our time.
Or it was due to your dad's hard work, maybe, or maybe good to having a good dentist or something else.
To take on corporate polluters who get rich poisoning us, and we fight for environmental justice. With the Green New Deal, we rebuild our country by creating millions of union jobs in the clean energy industry.
How does it build your economy when you create millions of unionized green jobs? Only way it does is if you actually make them government jobs and the government pays for them, right? That's the issue.
The future. Imagine turning the Rust Belt into a green belt that is a center of American jobs and innovation for the next century.
I'm in.
And we'd ensure clean air and water. Because I know we can't build back better.
We'll make that a right.
If our children can't live healthy lives.
We'll make that a right too.
A working family's majority would take on skyrocketing housing costs, which have
Okay.
left 500,000 Americans homeless on any given night.
This is true. This is a valid point again, right? A valid point. A lot of people become homeless heavily because of your policies and crushing their small businesses and crushing their jobs and crushing their health care and crushing their child care and crushing their schools. So a lot of it's because of that. But yeah.
And millions more struggling to pay the rent.
Mm-hmm.
That means building millions of accessible, new, affordable homes and providing long overdue rental down.
You know who's going to do that, right? Here's how that works. What's going to happen is they're going to pay their real estate cronies, which is filled particularly in New York, to build these houses. And then when people look and want them, they'll just use development centers go, you know what? Too bad, you're getting it. And they'll build these places and the cronies will get money and the government will pay the cronies and the government will then pay the rent.
Payment and home repair assistance.
Home repair assistance. Payment and home, rent payment and home. So who owns it then? See, the rent is too damn high, Dylan. You are correct. It is. That's an accurate statement. Again, what she's saying is correct. And her goal is a good goal. But her answer is, as always, a bad answer. Her answer is, well, government will give cronies money to build stuff, and then government will pay the rent to keep the cronies happy. That's what we'll do. That's her answer. So again, I'm with her on the problem. I'm in. I'm with her on her goal. I'm in. I am 100% not with her on her answer. That's the problem. Her answer is a bad one. And what's the Republican answer? Democrats bad. Good luck. That's not an answer either. The actual answer for something like this is we have a couple of these already in New York. You have the difference in homeless. The homeless model has to be broken up. Why? There's a chunk of homeless who are the working poor, and a chunk of homeless who have mental issues, and a chunk of poor have addiction issues, and a chunk of them who are just out. There's like 4 different chunks within the homeless world. You have to break them up, and each one has a different issue. If someone has an addiction problem, that's the problem. You don't deal with addiction. What home you put them in is irrelevant. What assistance you give them is irrelevant. What she's saying is for basically more than anything else, which is for the working poor. Now, the working poor, her system would work for that chunk of the homeless. It doesn't affect the other ones at all. It just makes for bad neighborhoods. I'm not joking. You see it in New York City. There are tons of mentally ill homeless men, and that's who they are. I'm not being sexist. That's who they are. They are mentally ill homeless men, literally killing and beating people on the streets of New York City. That's no exaggeration. There's no hyperbole. That's happening. You can't fix that with that plan she just talked about. Her plan would only deal with the working poor who are homeless, which is a good deal. But even that is the government paid for. All of that can be corporate sponsored. There's examples already here. Jericho House, Ronald McDonald House, they're already done. You allow for people, companies to sponsor buildings that simply take a percentage of income. They must always pay a percentage of income. If your income is 0, you pay nothing. But as you begin to grow, it allows you to work your way off. As you make enough money, the rent becomes too damn high for you. So then you move. But you always have money to spend. You have money to survive because it's never more than 1/3 of your income ever. You can begin to create these homes. They're homes for either the mentally ill, homes maybe for veterans, homes for families. Each one separate with different requirements and needs. And now you have people like drug addiction counselors there, things of that sort. Why would I want to put working poor together with drug addicts? Who drug addicts are going to be shooting up because they're drug addicts. They're going to be shooting up. I want families near them? That makes no sense. This idea does not work. This idea does not work. You can make it work. It takes time and energy, but it can work. And her ideas are terrible. Again, Democrats are the party of bad ideas. Republicans are the party of
we would provide a real path
whatevs.
To citizenship for our people who want nothing more than to contribute to our nation. We would transform our broken immigration system into one where immigrants are welcomed, not vilified.
But they're both welcomed and vilified. So it's not really 100% true. They're both.
Over the past few days, we have all watched in horror as Russia launched an illegal and unjustifiable invasion of Ukraine.
Okay.
We stand with the people of Ukraine.
I like that.
The United States and our allies must work together towards an immediate ceasefire and a diplomatic resolution to help.
It's true. See, she's got the right answer. That's true. So again, I'm liking some of the stuff she's saying, just the answer is always terrible. So it's, well, this thing sounds good. And this is why a lot of you teased me when I told you how the Democrats going to do well back in 2020. And I said the reason was their rhetoric was so good, right? And some of the Democratic rhetoric is really nice. It sounds good. It feels flowery. Oh, it's going to be rainbows and unicorns, and it's going to be puppies. It's going to be amazing. And then they come into power, and you're like, where's my puppy? You said there'd be puppies and rainbows. I haven't seen one rainbow and no puppies. What happened? And so when she talks this way, it's nice. But man.
Save lives. We must pursue targeted sanctions that put pressure on Russia's billionaires, not the everyday Russians who have no choice in this conflict. And are
first off, the everyday Russians, it is their country. So by default, they have some choice. But not just that. Again, let's just punish billionaires because billionaires evil. Do you think the billionaires wanted this attack into Ukraine? Seriously. Do you guys think the billionaires were like, man, we should attack Ukraine and mess up all my oil dollars and mess up my yacht and my home that I have in Europe? Boy, that's what I want. Not that I'm pro-billionaire. I'm just saying, do you think the billionaires want it? They don't want it either. They have to because they live in a thugocracy. If they don't say yes, they become criminals and go to jail or get poisoned or killed in Putin's Russia. They don't want it either. They just happen to be billionaires. But in her eyes, the fact that you are a billionaire makes you evil by default. So by default, punish them.
Courageously protesting the war as we speak. We need a humanitarian response to this crisis. We must welcome Ukrainian refugees from all walks of life to the United States.
This is not a bad idea either. However, there's a big caveat on this. You still want to have other countries also, not just us, other countries also, and you do want to vet them, right? You do want to vet them also. So yeah, you can do it. And here's the problem that drives me crazy. This can be done. I talk about immigration all the time. You can, without question, vet people coming across borders. How do I know that? International companies do it every day. There are companies that have tens of thousands of people in their companies, and they're moving hundreds of people across the world every day, vetting them, making sure they follow the laws, paying for them, the whole deal. I don't mind. Let's follow that. And then, you know what? There are tons of local Ukrainian groups in America, many here in New York City right now, in Brooklyn, where I live in Queens, but in Brooklyn. So why don't we instead have them join in and have them bring their brethren over? They can pay for it even. How about the Orthodox Church? This can be done.
And I know we can't seek peace by continuing to spend $750 billion every year on weapons of war, making defense contractors and companies wealthier.
Look, I like her rhetoric. I do. I like her rhetoric. It's good rhetoric. It's just, it ends in garbage.
We must put human rights and dignity first and prioritize cooperation and diplomacy to address the challenges that no one nation can confront alone.
These aren't bad. I'm going to end it here. We get what she's saying. She's going to say some nice things that sound good, and the answer is government force and government money. Here are some true problems we have. And this is a true problem, and we should care about this. My answer, more government money and force. That's the problem. If she would just say the first part and then not say the rest, maybe we'd be better off. So guys, I'm going to ask you to always like, comment, and share. And of course, head over to libertarianism.com. If you like what I'm doing, they support the show. So go over there, click that link, check out what libertarianism is about. Take some of those tests and quizzes. They're cool. If you like the merch, you can buy it if you want to, but you don't have to buy it. It can be free. You just do the videos and the tests, and you get points, and you can get the merch for free. So if you like the merch, get it for free, or buy it if you want to, either one. But go there and check it out. It's a great source that talks about what libertarianism is really about. And of course, if you want to support me running around New York, trying to make a better New York, LarrySharpe.com/donate. And we even take crypto. Not too shabby. As always, like, comment, and share. I hope it was entertaining for you, showing you a bunch of different ideas and where people are and what they really mean. I will see you all.